Hey, what's up, good people? Eddie Gray back at it again. It is Monday. It's time to get back into the dojo. Today we are continuing on with our discussion on the step sequencer. We're going over all of the tiny details that most channels are going to miss. So you're going to want to catch this. Stay tuned. Here we go. What's going on, people? This is your guy, Eddie Gray. We're back at it again, covering the Logic User Guide. This tutorial is brought to you by this channel, Resources for the Modern Creative, and then as a whole, hfmusicacademy.com. We're a school that we help people learn Logic Pro, mix and master their tunes. We help individuals monetize their music. Just this morning, I paid somebody $625. So we're feeling really stoked about that, really grateful that we get to contribute to all creatives around the world. So let's get right into it. We are covering the step sequencer at length. This really is such an incredible feature. I don't want to waste any time. There is so much to do, have. And so I just want to get right into it. Here we go. Eddie Gray at your service. If you guys are liking the content, all I ask is that you share, right? That's all we need. Your support. We just hit 2,000 subscribers, and so much love, much respect to everybody who is endorsing us. Again, this is only happening because you're making it happen. That's just the nature of it. I'd like to be able to take the credit and say that, we're doing all the right things and all this good stuff, but the truth is the people like the content, the people champion the content, and of course, they spread the word. I mean, that's really what it's all about. That's what it all comes down to. So I just wanted to thank you personally before we go on. There's been a lot of supporters of the channel. There's been individuals that have not supported, and also I do this for you. So I'm going to keep on talking. I'm going to keep doing what I do because that's what I do, and that's why you watch the channel. So regardless of what your take is, we are still providing the very best information on YouTube today. I believe it with all my heart, with all my conviction, that you will not get information like this anywhere else. So with that being the case, let's get into the very best subject in the world, Logic Pro. So we're going to work on changing the step rate for the pattern. I told you the last time that we were working together last week that there are three things that we really have to pay attention to: the pattern length, the pattern rate, and then the step rate for the individual rows. And then, of course, globally, as I just mentioned, the pattern rate. So let's read on this. The step rate sets the duration of steps in the step grid as a note value, right? How many times did I say step there? You can set the step rate for the overall pattern in the pattern rate and set a different step rate for individual rows and steps. So let me make that really clear. Listen to this, this bass pattern that I have going here. Take a listen. All right, so let me bring that up a little bit. Okay, so you see how that's playing right at a rate of 16th. If you want to, you can go ahead and manipulate this so that it plays at half time. So even though globally we're playing at 16th, we're going to change that now so it's at a rate of an eighth note. Let's listen to this now. So again, here's 16th, and I'm just changing the performance of the bass to be clear. All right, so then I'll do you one better. What we'll end up doing is we'll change the step rate for certain regions, right? So I just created an edit here. And so for this specific region, I'm going to go eighth note. Let's listen to this. All right, good. So you see what I'm doing here, right? I'm going to change the rate every so often. So Here, I'll change it back to 8th note. All right, let's listen to this. And then maybe this one, I'll go like half of that. So 4. Okay, let's listen. All right, so each one of these is playing at a different speed. The sequence is the same, but you can change the overall rate at which it plays. Okay, so that has been made clear, right? I no longer want to play or mess with the global rate. I want to mess and play with the row, right? And I want to manipulate how fast an individual row is going to play back. This is probably better illustrated on drums. So for example, this here is playing at a rate of 16, as you can see, and this is just a quick hi-hat pattern. Listen. Okay. All right, so you hear the playback, simple stuff, right? So in context, it goes like this. Oh, this is having trouble. Maybe I should cancel a couple things. Let me see. Why would it? It's not that many plugins here. Let me just put on low latency. Okay, that's working. I will take it. All right, so then again, click on here and hit E to open up the step sequencer editor, in which case we want to change the rate. So now instead of 16th notes, 1 EN to 2 EN, we just want 8th notes. Let's listen. I'm not seeing this playback for some reason. Hold on. See, there's no volume here. This looks like a little bug. That's really interesting. It should appear normal on, and by the way, we are listening to the results. So here's 16th note. Here is 32nd. Okay, so that's basically the idea, right? We can change this globally. Well, what if you wanted one hi-hat pattern to work globally at 16th? So I've got 2 of them running at the same time. Sounds like this. Sounds like one of them is choking the other one out. Yeah. So then what I could do is, like in the sake of these claps that I'm about to create, let's hope that this seems to be okay. And I'll make this just 16th notes. All right, this should work out well. And then rather than this clap playing at a rate of 16, right, as has been highlighted there, we can change the rate at which these claps play. So right now it sounds like this. So I'm going to have the clap play quarter notes. Wait, that was global. I want this to change to quarter notes. So again, globally, 16th notes, that's the pattern rate. But as far as this specific row goes, I'm changing it up. I want this to play quarter notes. Look at the highlighted playback events and you'll see what I mean. See that? Okay, context of the song, here we go. Okay, we can have that be a half note. Check it out. 1, 2, 3, yep, 1. It doesn't have to look a certain way. And why this is important is because it really eliminates the need to always edit and always change your input values. Like, I don't have to, now disregard every 2 and 4. You could just change the rate at which it plays and all your bases have been covered, right? So let's just go every whole note on the 1. 1. And that's how that works. All right, let's keep going. You can control different aspects of the event triggered. We've talked about the edit mode. This is where we change all the various attributes. You can choose the edit mode for a pattern, view multiple edit modes while using the subrows, as we talked about in the last chapter. Check out that video for reference. Some edit modes are common to both note rows and automation rows. This is something else that we discussed. I believe I was trying to create, I forget what it was, maybe note repeat or something for automation. And obviously you can't note repeat automation. So you just have to be clear on what's going to work for what, while others are specific to one row type. Okay, edit mode selector. Okay, it's the button to the right. I believe there's a key command to access it as well. Step noted on is always available on the left side button on the selector. You can choose other edit modes from the menu on the right side of the selector. The chosen edit mode appears on the right side button. Okay, so let's look into these attributes a little bit more. And I just want to see something. Okay. Let's see if there's a way to go back and forth between those key commands. So let's see. Here are the key commands for the step sequencer. And I just want to know if we can basically rotate values for current edit mode. Rotate values for current edit mode. Okay, so right now it says Option Shift. Let's see how this works. I don't see anything particularly interesting. Oh, well, I see that the actual pattern is being edited. But that's not what I was looking for. I'm trying to switch my edit modes. Okay, so set global edit mode to steps. So that's Control Option S. Let's see if this works. Maybe because it's already on. Yeah, let me do this. Okay, cool. So Control Option S gets you to steps on and off, and they have other key commands that are unique to velocity, gate, tie, and what's nice is they fit the criteria. For example, note is set to N, right? Option Control N, and the octave is set to O. So let's try a couple of these. Control Option O for octave, and that switches that over very nicely. I will take that. So again, to go back to steps, that's a really nice workflow. I highly approve. I really like it when, I mean, as simple as it sounds, the key command corresponds with the name. And best example I can give you is the tool menu. By default, it doesn't really make sense. I have mine customized, but like I think the eraser is like G or something. Please look at your logic to corroborate, but you can change all of this inside of the key command window as well. So that's pretty cool. I will take that. So again, Control Option, and then depending on what you're trying to do. Now, look at my screen. You see how it's kind of blanking and saying, no, you cannot do this. It looks like it's taking a picture. Well, this is simply because my focus is not inside of the step sequencer. The key focus, if you go back to some of my previous videos, this is the curriculum that I teach. It's essentially is around the tracks area, right? So that automatically tells me that key focus needs to be not in the tracks area, but inside of the step sequencer. And then now when I hit Control Option V, now I can see the expected behavior. So this is why it's important to understand the rudiments of the program. This is what I teach over at the Academy. And really, any course that you see, and you're going to be seeing more resources in the next couple of weeks, everybody I work with, every company that I consult, always goes back to the same thing. All right, let's keep this going. So step on and off, probably the simplest to understand, right? The active steps are highlighted while the inactive steps appear darker. Now, it's important to understand that in order for you to read other attributes, the step needs to be on. So I will give you a clear-cut example. For example, these claps, right? Well, because everything is on, I could now change other values, like note repeat, for example. Right, the only reason we're able to hear another value is because it's on. If the step was off, then we wouldn't be able to hear it. I'll give you an example of that. Let's see if I can clear this roll. So even though I have attributes associated, velocity, no repeat, we're not going to hear them simply because there's no note that is on. So In a similar fashion, this hi-hat, it's currently on, and I could then assign attributes to it. Let's play with velocity. Let's create some real dynamic stuff here. And then I will do note repeat. Every one, I will just change up. Let's see what this sounds like. Again, if those were off, specifically I'm referring to the ones that have the attribute note repeat assigned, then of course we're not going to hear anything. We're hearing the notes that are on, but we're not hearing any note repeat. Even though you can see the graphic is there, it's just not live because we need to enable the note. And how I'm doing this is just clicking once over. If I was inside of velocity value and I wanted to turn the note on, you'll see that I'm trying to, but it's not letting me. I can edit the attribute, but again, it's not live until I hold command and then click one time. All right, tie. We talked about this in the last video. This allows us to change up the duration of the step, which is really nice. The loop start and end, again, allows us to create polyphony, different unique time and rhythmic patterns. So check that out. Chance, this one basically allows you to play with probability. So chance controls the probability that the step plays each time the pattern repeats. So if it's 50-50, it'll play one time and not. And then of course, as you go higher or lower, it will adjust accordingly. Offset has to do with when is it going to play? Is it going to play early ahead of the beat, or is it going to play late? This is obviously necessary, especially when utilizing a step sequencer. This is something that we need, that is vital in order to really pull this off, and pull it off multiple times. I mean, you can get a step sequencer to sound good on the grid a couple times, but at some point you're going to want to introduce swing or offset in order to really make it sing. Skip. Skip basically allows you to obviously skip the step, but the magic is that when the step is skipped and playback moves immediately to the next step, it in effect is going to do something similar to what loop start end does, and it's going to shorten the row, and hence it's going to create interesting time variables. You have to try it to really understand what I'm saying. So again, with this hi-hat, let me see if I can hit Control Option and, hold on, I just forgot the name of that. Skip, let's see. Nope, that's for step. I wonder what they have associated with skip. Okay, I just tried K, it worked, awesome. So we're gonna skip every, let's do these two, then these four, and let's see what this sounds like. Now obviously it's a hi-hat, it's not gonna sound that revolutionary, but I just want you to really see what occurs. The myriad of possibilities are truly endless. But here, check it out. Now remember that this specific hi-hat not only has skip, which we just kind of burned into the file, but and let me go ahead and, here it is right here. It's the first column, or row, should I say. Velocity has also been introduced. Note repeat has also been introduced, right? That's where we're getting all that cool back and forth with the hi-hat. Maybe I can apply a high shelf so you can really hear. Check it out. Fascinating. I'm not seeing the playback for some reason. It's wild. Cool. So good. That makes sense. We also have gate. I don't want to utilize gate, so I'm going to, in effect, eliminate that sub row. Okay, everything else we have already talked about. Edit mode for automation rows. You want to drag vertically to set the value for the automation parameter controlled by the row. The value range depends on which parameter the row is set to. So in terms of automation, it depends what you're controlling, right? In the edit mode selector, choosing velocity sets the edit mode to velocity and to the automation value for automation rows. In row headers, velocity appears in the edit mode pop-up menu for note rows only. Okay, so what are they saying here? In the rows, velocity is only going to appear for note rows, so you will not find velocity for automation. You're not going to find velocity for melodic rows, only for note rows. And then up here, what are they saying? Velocity sets the edit mode to velocity for note rows again. and to the automation value. Okay, so it looks like we can affect the velocity inside of the edit mode selector, which is up here, but apparently not in the rows. Why? I don't know, but I will highlight that for future reference. View and edit multiple edit modes for a row using subrows. We've talked about subrows, why they're effective. Please watch the last video for some context. We know how to go back and forth and select the edit mode or the attribute button. I highly recommend you learn at least one of the key commands in terms of velocity, but a couple of them. They're all pretty much the same in terms of the beginning of the letter. So, for example, gate is Control Option. Well, let me make sure. Look, I'm going to hit Tab. Key focus is now in the step sequencer. Control Option G takes me to gate. Control Option S takes me back to edit mode. Control Option V takes me to velocity. What else do I have? Skip. That's K. Control Option K. So on and so forth. Let's think of another one. Gate, octave. Control Option O. You see what I'm saying? Right. I'm just going off the top of my head, and I'm guessing, but you know, you're probably gonna nail it. Control Option N. Note repeat, etc., etc. Okay. Okay, so now we know how to apply the appropriate attribute. Again, this can happen by way of the edit mode button, and it can also happen inside of here, right? So obviously these will correspond, but they're not the same, right? If I wanted to not change note repeat, but play with chance, I suppose the key command for that would be Control Option C. Is it? Did it land? I just want to make sure. C. Yes, it does. Then we would have to what? First, turn on the actual step on and off button. Now, I don't have that here, right? It's not on. Everything is dimmed. It looks like it wants to work, but it ain't going to work until what? We either have to go back here, and let me highlight what I'm talking about right there, and then we have to enable, or again, if I was in this menu, chance, I would have to hold command, turn on the step, and then proceed. All right, for most edit modes, except tie and skip, you edit the value by dragging vertically. Tie and skip are going to utilize the, well, tie works a little bit differently, but skip is going to basically allow you to click a note, and then it's like changing the loop start and end as well. So once you start playing with them, I think you'll understand how the feel works. Some edit modes have only on and off states rather than a range of values. In this case, clicking the step switches between two states. For loop start and end, clicking a step sets the loop start or loop end position. So let's play with, let's see, skip again. Literally, I should turn all these on. Literally is just going to not play this one, right? It's not that exciting, but at least you understand how that works. And why you would do this is strictly creative purposes. You want to try something else out, create some kind of variation on the theme. It could work. It could yield fantastic results. You have to try it. What else do we got here? So here's a good example of what skip looks like. It kind of looks, has this kind of stripe animation. We've talked about sustain, and so that's cool. If you want to tie the notes together, loop start we've talked about. Yeah, all of these we've covered at length. We've talked about subrows a lot. So we're going to just kind of skim over all this. To add a subrow, we should highlight that the plus button will get you there. And why you would want to add a subrow is simply so you can edit with ease. So you're not bombarded visually with everything that there is to offer in this incredible program. These two buttons, or set of buttons, we haven't talked about yet, and we're going to get to them in a second. They're really amazing. Page 683. If you would like to delete a subrow, conversely, rather than hitting the plus sign, you would hit the X, and that would eliminate. Bear in mind that you're not necessarily throwing it away. If I may show you, for example, I will call up skip, which you could see is being represented on the top. It's almost like a take folder, but think of it like attributes. So I'm going to eliminate this row that contains an attribute, but you're not getting rid of it. It still exists. The only way to get rid of it, again, is to either reset the value like I'm doing now. I'm saying, actually, I don't want to skip this, right? Or you basically turn the step off and that takes it back to its default state. So just be aware of what you're doing, understand the protocol, understand how things work. And I believe that this will make your life just tremendously easier. So that's what we're doing here. Hope you guys are well. Eddie Gray here at your service. We're reading the Logic user guide. We've been doing this for a couple weeks now. It's been such a true privilege to be able to hang out and just grow and learn with you every day. Let's keep pushing the envelope, team. Let's keep working, making things happen. If you have any questions, hit me up in the chat. As always, again, I just want to show love to everybody that has been sending us just great messages. Super grateful to all the good people in our lives. We can't thank you enough. It's been such a pleasure to work. So I'm going to be right back and we will finish this off. Let's get right back into it. All right, hope you can hear me. Broadcasting live from Los Angeles. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Super excited again about the opportunity to be here with you. It's been just incredible day in and day out to be able to work on this program. I'm learning such a tremendous amount. Been having conversations with some of the best in the world. Just so excited to be able to bring you this content and hopefully to be an ambassador, somebody that that represents the program well and brings a lot of pride, brings a lot of joy, and that my aim is just to help it serve. It's pretty simple. So again, thank you for your support. I realize that we simply wouldn't be here. 2K followers, ton of great engagement, great people, mostly love, and yeah, it's beautiful. All right, we're gonna cover one more facet here, and then I've got some sessions tonight. We got to get back to work, guys. Here we go. Pattern creation. All right, so we want to make sure that we start to think and work in terms of the pattern. It's one thing to just pull up a loop, but it's quite another to really understand the workflow. Now, if you haven't checked out the Apple tutorials, I highly recommend them. I think they're useful. We have a lot of great sessions and tutorials over at the Academy as well. But if this is completely foreign to you, please allot an hour, 2 hours. Really take your time to learn this. It will pay off huge. This is an investment in your career, in your time, and your energy. Make it. Do it. Just commit. Just find the time, right? Take this Friday, this Saturday, today. Just say, next couple hours, this is all I'm doing, right? All right, here we go. For drum percussion, edit modes such as velocity and note repeat can be effective, obviously. You can also create interesting variations by copying the pattern and changing the pattern length of the copy. This is like your boy just said, Eddie Gray, great minds. All right, so basically, we want to choose, something from Drum Machine Designer, turn on some steps. I could show you how to do all this. You have the preview button if you want to isolate. We would choose particular edit modes and then choose different pattern lengths in order to create fills and whatnot. And then if you want to, with either the tracks or the live loops and focus, you want to press Command R or Command D in my case to copy the regions and create variations if you would like. With a new region or cell edit, choose 8th step rate, so you would be playing this in halftime. So that's a simple little exercise that they're going through. They're basically saying like, create a drum sequence. Like in the case of what I have here, maybe I should erase all this. Yeah, let me control click, create pattern. Let me get rid of this thing here. And so you're just adding, different parts here. Let's see if this sounds out properly. Okay, good. And then let's say I wanted hi-hats to really kind of bubble up and crescendo from there, right? So at this point, again, I hit the edit mode attribute. You can also hit a key command. And then just, wait, I don't want note repeat. I want velocity. So I'm going to drag from here and then just slowly make my way up so it sounds like it's increasing in value over time. So take a listen to the hi-hat specifically. Good. Now let's say I wanted to change the overall value. You can use these buttons right here. This is going to change everything, not just one, but all the way up for everything. So look to the right. You see how it's all going up in value? Okay, let's play. Let's press play here. All right, good. So then now we're going to work with this one here. And this allows us to change the position of the current value. So while it's not necessarily getting rid of something, it's just moving it. So for example, right now I have a note repeat right there. This is going to move it over to the right. Check it out. So then now rather than being on the second step, it's going to be on the third. Check it out. So on and so forth. And again, you can edit one of these and then change up the flow, the rate. So let's do a halftime rate on the second kind of go around here. So yeah, really fun stuff. Instrumental pattern example. So now they start talking about an instrument and how this is going to change a little bit. So why don't I go ahead and access here. And so then now we're talking about an instrument per se. And in order to really kind of get the most of this, I'm going to go into the pattern browser, go into pattern and find a melody that works with what I'm up to here. Let's try and find something. Wow, well, part of the issue is I have strings selected. It doesn't sound bad. Geez, it sounds kind of trippy, doesn't it? I don't know if that's what I want to select. I also don't want to take a lot of time finding something, just by way of schedule. But let's just see if we could find something decent here. Yeah, that's good for now. And so then, again, when we're dealing with patterns, it changes a little bit, right? Because we're working with tie a little bit more. Let's say I wanted these notes to be a little bit longer. Control Option T will allow me to kind of string these together a little bit more. So I'll increase the length of that and then the length of that. Let's listen to this. Okay, good. Click the disclosure triangle on the left to show the sub rows, and now we can play with gate. So gate's pretty cool because now I can take that and change the sustain. So key focus has to be in the step sequencer, Control Option G, right? And so then now I will be playing with the gate of everything. And probably the fastest way is to click and drag down right here. So you see what I'm doing? I'm just clicking and dragging down right there. That's changing all of the values pretty quickly. Click and drag. All right, so let's see what this sounds like now, okay? And I'll solo this. Here. Okay, so bear in mind this still has effects and whatnot, so you're not really hearing the full gate. I should probably go into the effects and bypass all the effects that are inherent to this instrument. Yeah, here you go. Okay, so without gate, it simply will not sound like that. Let me see if I could oh wait, I think I just undid everything. I think I just completely botched that. Hold on, FX. Oh no, cool. All right, so then let's increase the gate for everything and see what this sounds like now. See how it's playing full on, right? Let me make this really short so there's no sustain. Check it out. So that's a different sound altogether. Go ahead and try it out when you get a moment. And now we're going to add a little bit of automation. I have just a couple minutes left. So basically, we're going to learn mode some kind of automation. They give you an example of what to do here. I'm just going to browse through it. Okay, good. All right, so manipulate the smart controls and see. Okay, so for example, I'm going to hit B. And when I look at the smart controls, I can see a couple things here that I can control. This is probably better illustrated with something that's logic stock because a lot of this comes pre-configured and pre-mapped. I do have a video on the smart controls. It's quite extensive, so check that out when you get a chance. And so let's listen to this really quick. All right, good. So you can hear this pattern. And so then again, if I hit E, I'm going to tell Logic that I want to learn something else, right? I want to learn, let's see if I could find something drastic, like I guess delay. Let's go with delay here. So I'm going to click there. I'm going to say, hey, can we learn something? And I'll click on delay. And so then now an automation row has been created. Be sure to disable it. And cool. So then again, the laws are all the same, my friends. We basically have to enable enable all the rows, unless you don't want to add automation to one of them or some of them. But other than that, we're working with the automation value here, as you can see, right? So you don't see that attribute here because it's obviously a part of automation. And so I'm just going to tell Logic, hey, I just want a lot of automation or a lot of delay on certain ones of these. Right? So let's listen to this. So I've added delay to a couple of those spots. Let's go back. But honestly, that could have been anything. But that's how you learn it. You pick the attribute, and then that's how you kind of carry on. All right, my good friends, page 685. The next time I see you guys, we are covering how to load and save patterns inside of the step sequencer. Thank you again for tuning in. This is Eddie Gray. Very grateful for what you have been able to build with us. Really appreciative of our time together. I'm going to catch you guys tomorrow. If you want to join in on the fun, go ahead and hit that notification bell, and we will do this again. Take good care of yourselves. I am out of here.